Welcome to another chapter of In the Keep podcast. I'm your very own prophet of the drowned god, the Motherload. This show is all about the world of arena first-person shooters, classic FPS games, their legacies, their lineage, and the people who keep that world turning. These are the players, the developers, the streamers, the influencers. It is the will of the drowned god Cathala that our communities band together in her cathedral to frag and give one another into oblivion for all eternity. This week on the podcast, we have a truly very special guest. It is my good buddy, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Smango. For those of you who don't know who Smango is, he is a gaming journalist, and he's best known for his sites, QuakeFans.net and also KentuckyNerd.com. QuakeFans.net, if you haven't checked it out after all the times I've shouted on the podcast, I feel sorry for you. I mean, I post on there a lot, pretty much every podcast. I'm sure some of you listening have actually heard of the podcast because of QuakeFans.net. And Smango is like, it would literally be harder to name the stuff that Smango doesn't do, I think. Like, he does everything. He's got two different podcasts. He's got Full Tech Podcast, which I've always talked about, and he's also got this new podcast, the Retro 20, which he does with his son. Really, really cool show. I mean, if you're into retro gaming, this is also a guy you should pay attention to. He's just a true renaissance man of the arena first-person shooter community and the retro gaming community. Always on top of everything. He is one of our server administrators in the Keep. He's an apostle of the Keep. He does everything. This guy, it just blows my mind, his work ethic and everything that he does, on top of like having a family and everything else, which I can't say. Before we get into the interview with him, we're going to have to go over a couple of housekeeping things here. I do want to ask a couple of questions to you, the listeners. Like I've noticed, kind of checking out stats and everything, other than YouTube, obviously, like there's so many other ways to listen to the podcast. If you haven't figured that out, definitely go check out inthekeep.com to get like a full list of every place that you can listen to the podcast. I've noticed that a lot of people listen on Alexa, and I personally do not use Alexa, so I'm curious, and I would love for you guys to get back to me. You can hit me up on Twitter, you can hit me up on the Discord, or wherever you find me. It doesn't matter. Just tell me where you're coming from here. I'm not sure if the stats coming from Alexa are like you're listening to Spotify or something like that, and you're saying like, Alexa, play In the Keep podcast. And it's like playing In the Keep podcast on Spotify or whatever, because all I get is Alexa. And I know that I do get stats from people who actually just go straight through Spotify, but I am curious. I'd really like to know where people are getting their podcasts from and how they're listening to it. That way I can decide or make more effective decisions about where I place my focus at. So if you could please, seriously, if you're a listener, get back to me on that and tell me how that's going and how you're listening to the show. That would be great. Also, definitely want to say thank you to all of our supporters, as always. Dots, Moose, Larissa, all of the Apostles of the Keep, especially Haducant, who does the music for this episode, and as well as like artwork for most of the episodes that you've seen recently, and Spaced, of course, who does he made the template for the Keep's artwork and does all of the beautiful artwork that you see everywhere on our sites, on the Discord, all that stuff. It's all Spaced and Haducant and the Apostles working their asses off. And I also want to say thank you to Bran Flakes. You may not know this, but if you enjoy those cute little timestamps that you get on YouTube, those are Bran Flakes. She does that for us because she's incredible. And by the time I've edited everything, I don't necessarily want to listen to the podcast all over again to make timestamps. Thank you also to Violent Heart, who actually bought the domain name for inthekeep.com for like 2 straight years to keep this thing afloat. Like, this is all a community effort. And also to Nationwide Moose and to Flambeau, who keep the Keep's Doom servers afloat. Like, they actually maintain the Keep's Doom servers. This is all big stuff, man. This is all community effort. So I really want to say thank you to these people because they're amazing. Without the support that we get, without the monetary support and the actual like people who put their time into this would not be possible. I don't think I could handle it. If you are a listener and you would like to support the podcast, there are several ways to do that. There's obviously the monetary ways, Patreon, PayPal, Amazon, blah, 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 blah. You can do that. It would be greatly appreciated, but if you don't want to, if you just want to enjoy the ride, that's totally cool. However, I highly recommend that you just go tell everybody how awesome this is. And a big thing is, if you see a place online, like, I don't know, a Reddit page or a website or whatever, that you think would be an applicable and, smart place to post the show where it would actually, get people's interest, please do so. Like, I would not be upset by that at all. Not even the least. If it's all going towards supporting the arena first-person shooter community, the retro FPS community, the classic FPS community, or just, the modern FPS community that still upholds, like, the standards of what I think are, good shooters, and obviously you do too because you listen to the show, please share it. Share the show. It's only going to benefit all of us, not just for me, not just for, it is for the Drowned God Cathala, let's be honest. It's about worshiping the Drowned God Cathala, but let's pretend it's just about us for a little bit, and then I'll deal with her later. She'll probably smack me or smite me or whatever. That's not important. What's important is that we spread this out a little bit. We want people to play the games that we love. We want to have people to share these experiences with, so let's do that. That's all I'm asking. Tell your friends. Those of you who actually do go check out the Patreon page will notice that there is a goal currently set for what we're hoping to do is kind of open up a small merch store, or at least sell you guys like some cool In the Keep t-shirts. So Spaced and I have been working pretty diligently. Those of you who saw me at QuakeCon saw me wearing a The Keep shirt. We will work on that. It will be a better design when it actually comes out for everyone to purchase, but my anticipation is that we will have some at least t-shirts at first for listeners to be able to purchase and like wear around and all that kind of stuff if you want to rep The Keep. And with that comes a small amount of money that has to be invested. So the goal is $100 per month. It doesn't have to be, like per month necessarily. Like we just want to raise like the initial cost of it. But my anticipation is that if we can we're already about a quarter of the way. If we can get to that $100 per month Patreon subscription, or any other way that you choose to give, it doesn't really matter. Like it doesn't have to be Patreon. If we can get to that initial number and get that started up, we can then generate a better way to actually, give you something that you want and also put money towards what we're doing as The Keep. And then that will hopefully benefit everybody more so than you just like giving us your money that you worked hard for. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you're interested in the Keep t-shirt, you can donate on Patreon. Everybody actually donates towards the goal. I'll probably just I will just give you a t-shirt because you donated towards that. And then whenever we get the store set up, the people who want to buy them will be able to do so. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're interested in that. But for now, let's focus on what is important. And what is important is that we're about to get in the Keep with Smango.
I am Smango from QuakeFans.net. That's right, Quake fans. Where the arena first person.
That's what
arena first person shooters are happening.
Me and Haducant were on stream earlier, and we were saying like we're trying to tell the people watching what server to join, and I said QuakeFans.net, and he's like, "No, that's not. You have to say QuakeFans.net."
Yeah, you have to get a twang in there.
Yeah, man.
Quake fan.
So
I'm just an old Kentucky boy.
it's been a little bit since we got to touch base, and I feel like we're due for an update because the climate of arena shooters has changed significantly since the last time we spoke. I'll go ahead and just say it. You're like the journalist for arena first-person shooters, at least in America. Everybody knows who.
That's sad.
I know, but everybody knows who Kentucky Nerd is, and they know who Smango is. And
they're like, oh, man, he can't even speak English. How's he going to type it?
things have gotten strange. You've done an excellent job of kind of I would say branching out after kind of what's been going on with Quake Champions. I'm not going to spend the whole interview shit talking Quake Champions. I don't have any intention of doing that. I think it's a great game, but clearly a lot of things are coming on. We got Warfork just came out and it's kicking ass. We got Diabolical still on the way, and like the last time that we did an interview together, which was on your podcast, it was Diabolical will be out any day now, and it is still not.
I know. I was looking so forward to it, but I guess good things. You got to wait for good things to come.
So, what's generally now? What's on your radar?
Right now, it's definitely Warfork. That's where I've been spending most of my time with the Warforkiness. Still learning a lot about the game because I know it used to be, well, I guess it still is, a game which was forked from Warsaw, which is a game I never did play before. But yeah, I know you have.
Yeah, I played Warsaw a little bit.
Seems like somebody tried to get me to try it, and I was just like, I never did try it.
Well, you're rightfully so, and I'll say I'm glad I did try it at the time because it makes me appreciate Warfork a lot more. Warsaw was always, for the last 10 years at least, I mean, there's been a development for 14 years, but for the last 10 years, from what I understand, it has remained excellent, and it truly is an excellent game. However, over time, things, fall off, people stop, supporting it, and then the last time I was in a Warsaw Discord, it had become a cesspool. I don't want to talk bad about those people. The admins were really nice, but I went in there and I posted something, and it was just literally they just post gifs of rhinos taking a shit on me. And I'm like, I don't have to.
On you?
Yeah. Well, they didn't put my face in it, but it was everything I said. It was just a rhino taking a shit. I'm like, okay,
well, that's kind of hilarious.
It is funny, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Those kind of jerks, but yeah.
That's the Keep is all about, having a positive place for people to get together and play these games. And I was like, I don't know if I can support that kind of activity. I don't want anybody to poop on anybody.
I don't understand Warsaw. I don't understand their gripe against putting it on Steam. I think the Steam release of Warfork has helped it tremendously. It's got it in front of people that would have never even knew the game existed. What was the point of that? I wish somebody would come forward and be like, oh, I wish you wouldn't talk about us like that. But it's you're stupid for not putting it on Steam. I'm sorry.
It was the same thing I said about the open arena devs. Is the actual, not the modders that made Rat Mod and the good stuff that I really enjoy. Yeah. But open arena itself, the actual devs, they don't even want it to be competitive. I'm like, why would you make a Quake game that's not competitive? I don't understand what the logic is in that, but hey, man.
I mean, they gotta understand how newer gamers don't want to sit there and make 15 different configurations to play a game. They just don't want to. It's not 1995 anymore.
You know how many times I've had this same discussion with so many different people?
I know you have.
So many people. I've been because they're I don't understand why people don't want to play XYZ game. And I'm
I mean, it's fine for people like me and you that, know a way of running a computer. It's not fine for...
Barely.
Yeah. Joe that goes gets a Walmart computer from, the $300 computer from Walmart, and he sees that, and, he gets ripped off. He goes and gets him an Intel Celeron PC off the Walmart line. He don't know anything about making configuration. He just wanted a computer and play. He wanted to play some Warsaw.
I'm just saying, I think that if anybody's going to play any of these games going forward, if we're going to preserve, all the Doom, Quake, whatever, Warsaw even, it has to be easily accessible. It has to be as simple as like just click on it.
It really does. Like it,
download and
even
play
I
it.
like simple stuff. I mean, if I just can go click on something and start playing it, that's awesome. Like
here's the biggest thing for me was like trying to explain this to somebody was I started saying like you understand you're competing with internet porn. These kids like some fucking 18-year-old dude just fresh out of high school who's looking for a game to play, he's waiting on college to start. If you want him to play Quake, that and the initial like 45 minutes to potentially 3 hours of him doing configs and testing it and like, oh, you need to drag pack files and all that, that's all moments that have just been taken out of his porno time.
I mean, that's kind of true.
It's so true. He can go on any website he wants and just get boobs in his face all he wants.
He's like, I can download these pack-3 files, or I can, get into the latest Asian porn on Pornhub.
That's exactly.
Right now. It's like,
that's the absolute truth. They can do
these PK files might not work. This porn, it's going to work eventually.
You have to make it just as easy and more desirable to play your game than it is to watch boobs on the internet. That's the
behind that for sure.
I know. I've been thinking a lot about this, man.
Yeah, I don't know. My ultimate goal for Quake fans is just to get information out there and make cool stuff. Like I might not be the best writer ever, or video creator ever. I just enjoy, doing it regardless.
No,
I just try to make stuff.
Your videos are great, man.
I like trying to make stuff that I know I would enjoy, because I search stuff all the time. I'm like, why is this not there? Like today, I just made that Warfork sounds video. Like I just made it, and somebody's like, "Oh, thanks for making that video." I was like, there was a guide out there, but somebody that likes to see visual stuff. I mean, I can make that. That's easy.
No, the YouTube videos are fantastic. I've told you 100 times, like just do that. Like just do. Because you're so good at you're so authentically yourself, man. You're just you.
Yeah.
And that's what I love that about it, and I think everybody else really appreciates it about you, because a lot of people are, I'm not going to say anybody's names, but some people just kind of come across like they're shilling out what they, you're just talking about what you like, what you enjoy, what makes you happy. And a lot of people just make whatever they think is going to get clicked on. And that's, fuck that.
I mean, I think everybody wants to get clicked.
Of course you do, but it's the way you go about it. Do you, if you wanted to get clicked on, you just make Fortnite videos.
Oh God. I know that's your favorite game. Come on.
It's not, but I'm saying if you really just wanted clicks, you'd be making Fortnite porn is what you'd really be doing.
How much do you hate me for making that bot on the Keep?
I don't bother me none, dude. I don't care. That doesn't bother me at all.
Everybody says Fortnite, it pings you.
Just so everybody's clear, who's listening, anybody that if you type the word Fortnite in the Keep, it will pop up and say, did someone say Fortnite? It's Motherload's favorite game.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care. It doesn't bother me, dude. I'm not going to let you guys bully me.
It's still funny, though.
So the other thing was I wanted to talk a little bit, because you're kind of shifting the podcast over, because everybody who's ever listened to In the Keep has heard at the end, I always say like Full Tech Podcast, but you're doing Retro 20 now, and Full Tech is kind of making a shift of lanes.
Yeah. So there's a big history between Kentucky Nerd and me learning how to do websites and podcasts and stuff like that anyway. And, I've come a long way. Just like after I realized I had an epiphany, basically, because I started working a new job, and I realized that Apache could host more than one website. For some reason, in my mind, I didn't even know that was possible until now. I was like, wait a minute, you can host different websites on the same box? For some reason, that didn't occur to me for whatever known reason. So I've upped my Linux skills tremendously from just starting. It's been 2 months in, maybe. So, I'm getting better. I'm not expert or anything. I'd say I'm like beginner, intermediate now. But after realizing that, I was like, the only reason I started doing Kentucky Nerd stuff, and it didn't really have a niche, Yeah. Like if you went to KentuckyNerd.com, nobody knew what it was. Like it would make no sense. It's like I was talking about everything and anything, but I was at least blogging and learning how to blog and make videos and stuff like that. So I wasted a lot of time doing that, and all the podcast was hosted on there, and then I tried to have partners, and that fell through, and so I almost just scrapped it. So KentuckyNerd.com is just me, basically. It's just a big, honestly, it's going to be a big resume of like just me. My face is on there right now. If you go there, you can go to KentuckyNerd.com. There's my face. Then now I have branched out to all my different websites I work on, like QuakeFans.net, Retro 20, my wife's photography. What is her? It's called Twice the Shot. I'll host this on the same stuff. So now I've actually made Full Tech Podcast, a website too. And so I wanted to restart because it didn't really, like, I had a different vision for it. Now I'm kind of wanting to focus on Steam reviews or something like that.
Yeah.
So I still have all my old files. I might kind of redo them and rehost them, but now I have, like, everybody's kind of in their own niche now. I don't know if it's making sense. Like, everything's kind of in their own bubble now instead of being on one platform.
That's how the internet works, though, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be easily like, I'm looking for this, and then you click on it, and that's what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, Quake fans don't. Everybody knows what it is. It's about Quake and arena first-person shooters. Like, everybody knows that now. When Kentucky Nerd was invented, it was kind of like I was even talking about Quake on there. Like, why wasn't I putting it on QuakeFans.net?
Essentially, what I'm gaining from this is because Quake fans is a niche category. Like, it is clearly, this is all it's about. It's about one thing. And then KentuckyNerd.com kind of was so many different things you're having to branch out.
It was so many things. I was like talking about retro games, and I was talking about Quake. I was talking about sports sometimes. It's like I didn't have it was me.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, it's not for the internet. Like Google, I just confused Google. They're like, I don't know what the hell this is. Basically, when they looked at my website, they're just like,
I think, obviously,
so I think
QuakeFans.net is like super successful so far and only growing.
It is getting better. I think the more I'm learning, the more I do. And I've learned a lot about SEO along the years here too. And it's just making more sense. Like right now, I'm really targeting Warfork. So we're going to see if the Warfork traffic comes through.
It probably will, because I would imagine because there's not a lot of content about Warfork.
There isn't.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of information out there that's like hosted on archive files.
Yeah.
So if I can just get that stuff and kind of generate it towards stuff that people actually use, like this Quake sounds thing was awesome. And I was like, I want Quake sounds in my Warfork. So I was like, I'll make that video. Tomorrow sometime I'll make a post about it too. And so I'll generate SEO for it and the YouTube.
Yeah, you ought to do. I mean, you could do so much different content because there's so much like open ground that's like it's archived in like Warsaw stuff, but people aren't aware of it necessarily in Warfork. So you could be like the top best Warfork maps, or that kind of thing. Best
I even want to make a video
maps.
on. Yeah, I even want to make a video on how to make your own Warfork server now. Like, there's no video out there, and even I had trouble. Like, I found out how to make the message of the day. It took me forever to find that too in the archive files.
Yeah.
So if I can just get every stuff kind of updated and generated to the QuakeFans.net, I think it'll be there eventually.
I think that's what's so great about this whole community is that's a lot of what we end up doing is people like you and me and Spaced especially go through the trouble of archiving information that other people wouldn't otherwise like want to deal with or aren't going to search through. Like Quake World. Like I just made like a short message, like these are the configs you're absolutely going to want to just go ahead and put in before you even do anything else. Just save yourself some time, put these configs in as soon as you boot up the game, and then you're good to go. You can play at that point. Whereas,
that's what we're going to have to do. I think we had a discussion not too long ago about which or Doom thing to actually run. It's like there's no good, simple instructions for that.
Yeah, is all the ports have their own challenges too.
Yeah.
So it's like each different. I've spent so much time. Like the last 3 episodes of this podcast have been about Doom ports. So I'm gonna ease up on it. But yeah,
see that has to be our goal if we want to grow. The Keep and Quake fans. It's like we're gonna have to make it easy for new people to join in. And I know a lot of people are like against having kids play. Especially kids these days. Like, we also need like 16-year-olds to start playing Quake now because
that's the most exciting thing in the world. That's my favorite thing in the world is my little brother playing Doom.
Yeah,
it made me so happy. It literally was one of the happiest moments of my life to see my 16-year-old brother boot up Brutal Doom and get obsessed with it.
Awesome,
man. Like I've talked about that way too much on the show too, but it's like it's so true, man. That's exactly what I want to happen, and I would be. That is my number one thing about the keep, man. If anybody starts treating somebody like shit because of that, like just because they're young or
Mhm.
whatever, like I'm gonna smack the shit out of somebody. I'll slap that ban on them so fast. Like that's exactly what we need. But so people get myopic and they get involved in like their pet game, or like people need to have like thicker skin and stop whining. And I'm just
Well,
like,
they
dude,
do to an extent. I don't want to run somebody completely off though. Like somebody joined in Warfork the other day, and I could tell that they'd never played arena for their shooter in their life.
yeah,
After I shot them a couple times, I was like, "Man, come over here. Let me show you some stuff."
exactly. That's it. That's it. That's the attitude people need to have. It's just, hey, I know you're new.
I mean, of course, this guy's a noob, but what am I gaining from calling this guy noob
Or
the
yeah,
whole time?
just
Like, you
treat them
suck.
nicely.
Go and uninstall the game. Go play Fortnite.
It's hard. As a lot of people say that, they jump into different games because they don't want to get
They,
into a
they
game
really
and just
do.
get bodied for like
It's sad.
get owned for 30 minutes and then just like, oh, I'm getting off of here. I can't even figure out what to do. Or we could teach them the skill, and that's what's valuable about these kinds of games is that you put work into it. You really craft a skill.
Yeah.
And it balances you and the rest of your life. Like I get done. I play few matches of Doom, maybe some survival with the boys, and then I feel better about real life because there's demons that live in this head, man. There's some
Oh yeah,
crazy
man.
stuff going on.
Tell
I
me
gotta,
about it.
so I'll put them on the screen and I shoot them, and they're dead, and I don't have
There
to
you
worry
go.
about it for the rest of the day. But that is true though. I don't know if you're aware of this guy. Does mindbodygaming.com. I think his name's Jared. Good friend of
Never
Violent
heard of
Hearts. Yeah, he's really cool dude, and he has some really helpful stuff on his website because he talks about how like a lot of people that play games are, like unhealthy. They don't really get out and
Yep.
see the sunlight and exercise and or whatever, just like really understand what gaming does to your brain. And there's two different sides to it because there's like the stereotype of like the fat, lazy, guy that just with the neck beard and he just like pimply faced and all he does is sit
Make
in
fun of my neck beard, man. Come
just
on.
messing. Just
Bald and fat and high blood pressure.
it's
Old.
you know what I'm saying though. Like there's people who aren't balanced. Like they don't take care of their
Yeah.
real life shit, but that's the stereotype. And then the reality is that the people who play Quake, you got like me, Violent Heart, this guy that I'm talking about right now, who I go run before I sit down to play because it makes me like. And then when I play Quake or any of these games, really, it's like athletic, man. My heart rate gets up, start sweating, like
Oh yeah.
but it's a brain. It's like it exercises your brain too. And this guy,
I used to be way overweight there for a long time. After high school, I quit playing football and stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm done working out. It was a very dangerous game to play. I think I got 350 pounds.
yeah,
It was not fun, and it definitely strains on you mentally too. Like it's not good. So now, I actually start working out again. Before I got married, I got down to almost 200 pounds, lowest I've ever been probably in my life. But I'm married now. I got kids, so I don't really care. I'm not like going to go kill myself.
no, but
Now,
you gotta.
I go out and I got a treadmill right behind me. I just got done walking on it before I made the video. I was eating and making the video, and I finally got on the view. I help coach my little league team, and I go to work. I got 2 kids. I do go to the gym, but I'm not going to sit here and try to starve myself no more. I just don't care.
Don't starve yourself.
I'm gonna go eat me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like I don't care.
Just I'm saying, like you gotta be balanced, and the more
Yeah,
like,
you really do.
It'll
Absolutely.
make you better at these games. Like Sygib plays basketball. Like, it's something as simple as that. Who is the like? Fuck, I can't remember his name. Professional Counter-Strike player, and he's like 90% of the time I'm playing hockey, like, and then I just play Counter-Strike, and he's like one of
a
the
lot
best
of
players
the
in
pro
world.
gamers. They really do. They're athletic.
Yeah,
A lot
you
of
gotta
them
be.
are.
Locktar.
You really
he's
do.
Like, I'm like, what do you do when you're not playing Quake? He's like, I go to the gym.
Like I just got out of that job that I was working at, and I was getting way unhealthy again because I would just sit for 12 hours a day. Like I wouldn't move. It was coming a potato.
Mhm.
Like it wasn't. I didn't even have the energy to walk when I got home.
I
guarantee I've lost like 10 or 15 pounds just starting this new job just because it's on a campus again.
a lot of what I
have
do
to actually walk.
at work is like I built a cardboard like standing desk so I didn't have to sit anymore because I'm like, most of the time when I'm at home I'm doing this stuff and I'm sitting a lot, so I need to like the 12 hours I'm going to be at work, I need to be on my feet. I got a yoga mat behind me. Like I'm doing anything I can to stay awake, especially on night shift, man. Like whatever. But that
Yep.
all that stuff contributes to you being a happier, healthier, and better gamer.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Or
See,
like
the last time I considered myself in decent shape was before Bentley was born, and I done the Tough Mudder. It was awesome. It was fun times. I'd say that's the best I've been in shape in a long time. I mean, I'm not in terrible shape. Like I can get down to a push up. I mean, there's lots of people that can't do push ups, man. It's ridiculous. I'm like, man, you need to go like do something. Just, if you can't do a push up right now, you're in a bad spot in your life. You should be able to do a push up. If you can't do 10 push ups, there's something wrong with you. You probably need to work on your health and worry about playing a video game.
It's all a balance, man. It's a juggling act. But
I don't know how we got started on this, but whatever.
No, it's a tangential. We're just having a conversation, man. I did want to talk about the Retro 20 itself, because we spent all our time talking about arena shooters and stuff. The Retro 20 is about like retro console games, Castlevania and that kind of thing. I'm really interested to hear how this comes out. I want to say the episode of Full Tech where you talked about Half-Life, like how you personally found Half-Life, was like one of my all-time favorite podcasts ever. And it's not because you're my friend. It was just so good. It was like
that was one of my first PC games, though. You gotta understand that. It was awesome how I discovered that game. I didn't even know what it was. That's the sad part.
Yeah,
I didn't even know what it was.
It was like, what's this?
Like I was going. We went to this auction. I don't know if you guys listening have ever been to an auction. Maybe it's just an Eastern Kentucky thing. But back in the day, you used to have auctions everywhere. And this place was just like a big smoke-filled like dungeon, really, with people going 110. Auctioneers. I don't know if you ever been to an auction at all. Auctioneer, but the smoke filled. You couldn't hardly see half the time. I'm like 12, 13 years old at the time. Like my eyes are burning because all the smoke I'm trying to see through. And they get to the end, and I guess like one of those stores went out of business, like a Permata. That's how old I am. I know what Permata is.
Don't know. Del Champs? Did y'all have Del Champs?
No, I've never heard of Del Champs.
Must have been an Alabama thing.
We used to have Permatas. Well, I think a Permata went out of business, and so they had a bunch of PC games. And I've played SimCity like on Super Nintendo at the time. So they had SimCity 3000 up there. They're like, all right, every PC game's $10. So I walk up there, and my mom's like, go up there and see what you want. I'm like, Mom, I don't know what these games, I know what SimCity is. And they had this big orange box. It had Half-Life on it. Yeah. I was like, this game looks cool. It's got aliens and it's got a gun on there. Sure. Sure, Mom, buy me this game that's M-rated.
Little did you know, though, that it was one of the
Little did I know, like, this game was probably the best game I ever played in my life. I mean, let's be honest. Half-Life was fantastic.
You think Half-Life is better than Half-Life 2?
Man, I don't know. That's Half-Life. There's two so different games. Like, they're in the same realm, but they're so different. You had all the scientists and stuff, using Black Mesa in the first one. Then you go to City, what was it, 7? Like, okay. I don't know. I don't know which one's better, to be honest with you. I think the original Half-Life is probably my favorite game of almost of all time, just because it simply made so many different good games.
Yeah.
Like, I played Team Fortress Classic so much. Like, that's what I've done on dial-up back in the day. My Intel Pentium 3 processor was just gaming some Team Fortress Classic. It was like the original Half-Life was a never-ending game.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many mods, which, I played Quake. I didn't really play Quake, the original Quake back then. I played Doom. But then I know Quake or Half-Life was based on the Quake 2 engine now these days. But when I was that young, I didn't know. I just played Half-Life and Quake 3 come out. That's what I played.
I think.
So I didn't know Quake. I think Quake 2 had all these mods probably too, but I wasn't familiar with it.
What was impressive about both Half-Life and Half-Life 2 is that they both like Half-Life 1 was like, kind of based on the Quake 1 engine. And then Half-Life 2 was like a totally different experience. Like that no one had ever seen physics like that. It came out, I want to say, forgive me if I'm misspeaking here, but
2004.
Right around the same time as Doom 3. And Doom 3 was supposed, like, id Tech was supposed to like dominate the gaming scene. And then that was the first time that anyone had blown it out of the water with a brand new, crazy, beautiful engine that could do all these crazy, like, that's the first time you could like pick up stuff and like just kind of throw it around. You had the gravity.
Yeah,
gun.
it was awesome.
Yeah, it was just.
I mean, even the original Half-Life had stuff you could like interact with and break.
Yeah.
Like I always thought that was cool. You had like games like Soldier of Fortune would come out and have like crazy violence in it, like you blow somebody's head completely apart, stuff like that. It was crazy.
Violence is weird in games like this. I personally like.
It really is.
We just had. I guess it's topical. Like the president had just come out after the mass shootings and said like violent video games had part to do. I'm like, we had this debate 15, 20, 25 years ago. We're done.
Yeah, but we go in full circles in political world. That's for sure.
But it's like I don't think that has anything to do with what I play. Violent video games. I don't do violent things.
I think you have to start worrying if people actually start using it as like simulations, like some of the people were doing. Like they created their own maps of their schools or something like that. That stuff freaks me out. Like I love video games
and Doom,
like,
school Doom, yeah.
Like that's scary, man. Like if you're gonna sit there and make a simulation of you going to do this evil act, you got to worry about stuff like that. I don't think I think obviously games, real games aren't. There's probably something wrong with the person that's doing that anyway.
That's what I'm saying. It had nothing to do with the game. It's that person was fucked up in the first place.
Yeah.
But that's not what I don't want to debate about that for too long. I was just going to say, I think it's really cool that like we have the Quakes and the Dooms and everything where it's like hyper violent. Brutal Doom is obviously brutal. And then like Warsaw is pretty much clean. I would feel totally comfortable. If I had a kid, I would be totally comfortable with them playing that game.
Yeah, it's like a PG-13-ish.
Yeah.
You're still the same realm, honestly, of Fortnite. Yeah. Fortnite, everybody thinks it's not violent, but they're shooting each other with shotguns and
it's just
rockets.
For whatever reason, I think honestly
they don't have blood. They don't have blood in it.
When I really think about it, I don't get why I think that if you do shoot someone, they should have blood on them. But the way that you understand, like for a kid needs to understand that if you did shoot someone, their head would explode. Because if you're teaching them that you just shoot them with a rifle in the head and then they just disappear, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I like the idea, like Diabolical same way, very clean looking, like total. It basically looks like Overwatch.
Diabolical. I'm glad that it's honestly not based on like a Quake or something engine.
Yeah,
like, it's its own engine, right? Or is it the Unreal Engine?
I have no idea what it's based on. I don't think it's based on a Quake, any of the id Tech engines, though.
See, that's a lot of problems with all these other ports, all these other random arena first-person shooters. They're all based back in old, 90s engines, which is great. They're great, but they was great at that time, But then you got a game like Quake Champions that they have an engine that doesn't even have half the stuff that old engines had. So I don't know.
So we started this tangent talking about the Retro 20 and we got off to every other topic. It's okay, man. Like I said, this is what this is about. But so the Retro 20, like what's on your radar as far as like what are the retro games that you have to cover? Like I haven't.
So the Retro 20, what I have done now, and I think I got one episode up, which is like an introduction. So the first game we covered was Super Mario RPG. So this is kind of a thing I'm kind of wanting to do with my son because he's like 6, 7 years old now, and he's starting to learn how to read. Hopefully this year, he's in first grade. But it gives me a reason. It's awesome. I get to play my retro video games. I can spend time with my son too. So I figure like he's going to be like my co-host now on the Retro 20. And I'm going to make, family-friendly content for like, other kids and, he'll be on there. And we've gave him the nickname Monkey Fan. Was what he come up with. For some reason, he wanted to be Monkey Fan. I call him my little monkey all the time because he bounces around like a little monkey on the couches. But yeah, he loves Mario. And, I love retro games. So I was like, you know what? Let's just make, father and son YouTube and podcast. Why not? I don't know if anybody's doing it, but it's hard to get a 6-year-old to sit on the mic and be like talking to the mic here the whole time. I wish I had one of those headsets I could plug right into his mouth.
No, that's really cool, man. Like it's a fantastic idea, and I think that that'll probably be really successful because of it. A, it's family friendly, and B, but it's because you're sharing your entire life's experience
Yeah.
of games with a new
Like,
generation.
I get to show him stuff I loved when I grew up with, and I get to play it again. I get the nostalgia fit from it.
Yeah.
I never did play Super Mario RPG as a kid. I couldn't afford that game. If I got a game back in the '90s, it was like for a birthday.
Yeah.
And I always got like RPGs and stuff. So I like to cover RPGs. But the problem with that is RPGs are so long, and like I don't have time to play them. So we tried to cover Super Mario RPG, but we just running out of time. Like we'd play it like 3 hours, and we basically got nowhere the other day. So we tried to make a podcast about it, but we ran out of things to say because we couldn't experience the full game. I can't sit there and play the RPGs like I used to back in the day. Like we'd get like games like Final Fantasy 3, me and my cousin, and we would just play that every single day of our life. It was the only game we had. Like we didn't have. I think my Steam library has like 500 games in it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm stupid for buying that many video games. Like, when am I going to play these? I have no idea.
Because like one day the internet's gonna go out, and you're just gonna be like,
"Oh man, when the internet goes out, I'm still golden."
time to start booting them. But for me, that's like, I have games that like if the power goes out, like my book collection is always gonna be there, and one day I'll finally read all those hundreds of books that I have stowed away. But I don't know. I think it'll be really cool, man, because like when he's older and he looks back on this and he has like, it's going to be really cool, like father-son.
Yeah, he'll have videos and us talking, and hopefully, he'll keep it going eventually when I'm long and gone. But he gets to experience it authentic as you can get. So I have an old school TV. It's a Curtis Mathes, if that tells you anything. It has wood grain on it. I have, I actually have a Super Famicom, which is the Japanese Super Nintendo. And I have EverDrives for some games, so I don't actually own a lot of the carts because it's almost impossible. I don't know how anybody collects a full collection. So anyway, I decided to go with EverDrives, and EverDrives is the most authentic way you can play. It's not emulation. It flashes each ROM to the cart. You get to play it exactly how it was back in the day. No emulation. It's all hardware. So that's great. He gets to play it as authentic as you can get without purchasing the actual game. But yeah, we're going to cover, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, the regular Nintendo. I still do collect for the actual regular Nintendo. I don't have EverDrive for it. I have Sega Saturn. I have, a whole arcade machine over here. PlayStation 1. Probably be the cutoff line. The Retro 20. We have a Nintendo 64, but only got one game for it.
You got to get them on the Amiga. Like get
Amiga.
Break out the ZX Spectrum, like import that from like over in England. I'll see if AF Domains can dig one up for you or whatever.
I'll tell you, there's one system I wish I did have or got to play is the TurboGrafx or the PC Engine. That's one thing. That's a good system. It's 16-bit, but it's just not very popular in America.
Yeah.
America.
You read Retro Gamer magazine?
I would like to, but no.
It's great, man. It's a good taking a shit read. No, it's great because I believe they're all English, but their website even has a really
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Did you know Game Informer canceled their magazine? GameStop. I don't know if
I would imagine they've been giving it away for free for so long.
Well, you had to get a subscription, but they've completely cut it out.
I mean,
GameStop is taking a huge dump right now in the gaming world. They're going out of business. They're firing everybody. They're closing stores. I kind of feel sorry for them. Whenever somebody would ask them back in the day, what are you going to do whenever digital download starts to be a thing? That ain't going to happen. That's what the president said or something like that.
Same thing with Blockbuster.
I knew something was going to happen when they got rid of their PC line out of the GameStop. That's why I kind of quit going to it. Like, I like to just go and look at games sometimes. And they completely got rid of all their PC line.
They got to the point where they 50, 80 in some stores, like percent of the whole stock wasn't even games. It was just like merchandise. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want any of this shit. I don't want any of it.
It's cool, but overpriced junk.
I'm not going to buy it. That's the problem. It's like Spencer's Gifts. I don't think I've ever bought anything out of Spencer's Gifts. I sure love going in that store. They should charge an entry fee or something just so you could see the freak show, but I never bought anything at Spencer's Gifts.
Spencer's? I think about a keychain at Spencer's.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like knickknacks and junk that I know I don't need. I mean, some people love that kind of thing, but for me, it's like, look at my room. This is where I live right here. Like, I'm real baseline, dude. I got my fish, 3 pictures, and a couch, and my
Metallica.
PC. That's all I need.
See, I just got Kentucky stuff and a bowl and Quake hanging on the background and an action replay. A Power Rangers movie poster. I don't even know where that come from. I got UFC hanging on the back. On the other side, I got Spider-Man and Batman. I got a Doom poster somewhere. And I got a collection over here. My PCs are like right here in front of me. I got too much stuff.
Nah, man.
I told my wife, I was like, I'm just going to burn it all and start over. Like, why do I need half of this stuff?
I don't know. I mean, if it means something to you, then keep it. If it doesn't mean anything to you, for me, it's like almost like Buddhist lifestyle. Like, I don't want anything. I don't want any extra shit.
I do want to get rid of some stuff. I have to.
Hey, sell it on your website. QuakeFans.net sale. Retro sale. Yeah.
So I bought a bunch of these poly mailers. I don't know if they are, but about 100 of them. And they come in the mail, and I haven't been able to find them since. I have no idea where they've just disappeared. I have no idea where they went. They're just gone.
They're
I don't know if somebody's using them for a pillow or something. My wife's like, "You probably threw them away." I was like, "I didn't throw 100 poly mailers away." I'm bad with those things. If it's a piece of paper, I'll throw it away in the garbage. She's like, "Why'd you throw that receipt on there?" I had something from Walmart. I'm like, I don't go to Walmart. I'm gonna throw it away.
So what's as far as like arena shooters go, other than we've already talked about Double Article and Warsaw, what else is on your radar right now? What else is like the things that are really piquing your interest? I'm curious because I've said you did like the Ninja Turtles video, which everybody loved. Yeah. You do a lot. You do a really good job of kind of like digging up these oldies that people forget. Like didn't you do a Nerf gun arena or something like that? Somebody did. I'm not sure who it was. If it wasn't
I've
you.
never heard of the Nerf gun arena.
Oh, no. Well, then you might have to do that.
I'll dig up that one. You know, it's kind of hard to get away from Quake Champions because it sad to say it's the most popular one right now. I mean, I want to talk about it. There's just nothing to talk about anymore. That's the problem. Like at first, there was so much to talk about. There was content coming out all the time. There was tournaments all the time. And it's just like, it just went stale. Like this year. It was sad. It's like I almost want to just shut down, you know. But now I was like, you know, I can kind of pivot here a little bit and just maybe pick another arena first-person shooter or just start talking about them all instead of just Quake Champion.
I mean,
so I think Quake Champions will still be there whenever something cool happens, but there's just nothing happening anymore.
I felt very kind of, I don't know, separated. For anyone, no one can see the admin chat except the admins, but I did a lot of posting recently about how I felt about Quake Champions, and essentially it was just like, I feel like it's like my old girlfriend who doesn't want to bang me anymore.
Yeah.
You know? It's not her fault. It's not my fault. We both I still love her. She still loves me, but we're just not into it anymore, and that's okay. But Quake Champions, when I was at QuakeCon,
I would like to get more in the Dusk and stuff too. Like even the original Dusk World or Quake World and Dusk World. All that's interesting to me. I just got to have a cutoff somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to cover more of the Doom 2 mods too. Like I'd love to do all of that, but it's like I'm only one person.
The Doom 2 mod stuff is like really like you could have a lot of, especially when your kid gets a little older and you feel more comfortable than playing that. You could go down a rabbit hole playing Doom 2 mods.
Oh yeah,
but or just like GZ Doom, like all the new stuff that's coming out for GZ Doom is incredible. But for arena shooters, it's like Dusk. We're waiting on Dusk World to get the SDK update. I don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, I got a little bit of info while I was at QuakeCon, but I'm not gonna like talk about it until there's some actual confirmation. But
like the multiplayer of Dusk, it's okay. It's nothing. It's not as fun as Warfork, for example.
It's just that Dusk has like great physics. It has like
the single player game's awesome.
Some of the best physics ever, and it has so much potential as a multiplayer game.
Yeah, it does.
Just needs to be worked on, and all we need is like turn it over to the community, and we'll mod the shit out of it. We'll make it the best game you ever saw. Like it's just just give me that one tool, and it's gonna be like off to the races. But
it just
takes
feels
time.
like I'm playing the original Quake. It's like, why don't I just play Quake that will allow me to do mods?
Well, people kind of expect everything to happen just like that, and people forget like back in the day when you first got a game. It took a while for you to for them to release the everything out and for you to mod it and all that stuff. So we just got to be patient with
that. Time we live in.
But in the meantime,
everything's instant.
Warfork is the thing. It's happening right now.
So that's the bad thing about Fortnite and these battle royales being at the top of the gaming chain right now. But these guys have full teams. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Fortnite team, they actually have 2 different teams of developers.
Mm-hmm.
Like the team that's on the game right now, they don't take off work, so they can update the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, we saw.
So
that
they can't take off until the next team comes in and lets them go home. Basically, like they're working almost 12 hours every 7/12s or something.
Hope they're getting paid.
They're pushing up so much updates, and it's keeping the game so fresh 24/7. And I think that's the problem with Quake Champions, stuff like that. It's like we do want new content, but how small is the Quake Champions dev team compared to Fortnite right now? They're not working 7/12s.
I'll say 100%. It means far more to me to know that Sync Error and the boys are like relaxing and having a good life than it is for me to get an update to that game. I was real upset at Christmas time. I was very upset with like everybody who was bitching and complaining about that update. I'm like, these motherfuckers, instead of being at home for Christmas, we're making sure you got your stupid fucking update. Leave them alone. Just give them a break, because it's eventually they'll figure it out or they won't, and it won't matter. The world will keep on turning. It's just a video game.
It just sucks. So it's like we want arena first-person shooters to be awesome.
Yeah,
and
they are.
And the time they are awesome, but the time we live in, it's hard to get these kids that want they want flashy things 24/7, new skins in their games, and new loot boxes, and just I don't know what they want.
That's a fundamental problem with American capitalism, man. It's just people just expect new all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's beautiful about what we kind of do here, in the Keep and with Quake fans and with everything that you're doing, the retro, all that stuff, is that we're preserving what we know is good instead of just tossing it by the wayside, because it's a lot of people do that. They just toss it by the wayside. I want the new iPhone. I want the new this, that, or the other. Just
don't get me started on iPhones.
There's years and years and years of fantastic content out there for you. All you have to do is dig a little bit and enjoy it, man.
Yeah, there's so many games to be played. I mean, even WoW Classic comes out tomorrow. I don't know. I know you probably ain't in the World of Warcraft, but World of Warcraft Classic comes out tomorrow. And this game's everybody's already played it, but it's like got this huge hype now because it comes out Monday.
Halo coming out soon too.
Yeah, the original Halo coming out. They've all been on PC and they've failed miserable. Halo CE was on PC, guys. I'm sorry, but it wasn't good. It wasn't a good port though. Actually, the original Halo isn't going to be ported to PC. I don't know if that makes sense.
It's
it's the CE version that got ported to the Halo Master Collection, but the Master Collection is getting ported back to PC.
The Master Chief Collection is what they're doing. Yeah. Well, I think like Sony has done a great job recently with Resident Evil games, like kind of revitalizing Resident Evil for like a new generation. Yeah, that's incredible to me. I love that.
So, do you actually like the new like Resident Evil, how it moves and stuff, or did you used to like the like you walk like a robot?
I've loved Resident Evil since I was a little kid. I mean, I
thought it was scarier, like when you'd open a door and go.
What was so cool about like Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3, where it was like you'd walk into a room and you have no control over where the camera's facing. So you don't know, like stuff could come at you from any direction. It's like find the doors and all that. Even like the textures were really creepy. Silent Hill, another perfect example. And then the newest ones that have been coming out lately, especially Resident Evil 7, which was like a full-on new game. Whereas it was first person, which has, to my knowledge, never happened. I think Resident Evil 4 is the greatest game of all time.
That's kind of when I quit playing them, was Resident Evil 4. I think I have it, but I've just never played it.
Resident Evil 4, hands down. It's campy, it's stupid, but that's what Resident Evil is. If you don't like that, don't play Resident Evil. I think it's level design wise, just like it's one of the greatest games ever made. And then Resident Evil 7 was mind blowing. Like it is so good, and it was everything that we didn't get because everybody was waiting on Silent Hills to come out after PT on PS4, and that got canceled. And then Resident Evil 7 came in and saved the day.
See, those games freak me out, man. They really do. They give me the creeps.
I love horror games.
There's another. Have you played that Amnesia Dark Descent?
That's number 2.
Game freaks me out, man.
Resident Evil 4, and then after that, Amnesia.
I can't play this game.
The Dark Descent. Right up there for me.
I have it, but it's creepy. It's creepy.
Here's a secret about that game. The darkness thing doesn't matter. Like, you don't actually have to continually keep the light on.
Yeah.
The sanity meter is just there to freak you out. That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, it does, though. It's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
So back to the Quake stuff. I never got to play Quake Wars, so I don't know if it's actually good or not.
I think if it were,
I don't even know if you can experience it now, which is bad.
I know. I love Quake World. Quake 2 for me is like.
I love Quake 2, man.
I love it. The way it plays. I think it's fantastic. I love the engine. That's what Warsaw is built on.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's super awesome. It's so fundamentally different from all the other Quakes that I feel like I would have to like relearn how I play Quake to really enjoy it. I've tried. I've had a lot of fun doing it, but it's
so
just
good.
That railgun delay. Yeah,
I love Quake 2. I think it was that was like their peak almost. Was Quake 2. Quake 3 is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but Quake 2 was like, it's just great. The engine's great. The sounds are great. I mean, they released ray tracing for it just because it's a good game.
It's fantastic. It looked beautiful. I saw like at QuakeCon they were streaming it with like all the RTX support and everything. It was gorgeous.
It was weird that Quake,
the best sound,
like the Quake game went to the Quake 2 that it is. It's like two different video games almost.
Quake 2 has the best sound design of any game probably ever made. Good. It's just you can hear everything so clear. I don't even understand how why is sound design not that good in every game since then? Like it seems like a no-brainer.
Understand. Yeah, I think people get smaller teams now is the thing. I guarantee the Quake 2 team was bigger. The Quake 2 team was smaller than Quake Champions team.
I think they probably had more. I don't know about Quake Champions. Just like it was always a pretty tight group, and then at that before Quake 2 came out, it was gone.
That was top tier group though.
Yeah, the best of the best for sure.
Yeah.
Tim Willits is gone now too. Like they're pretty much like it is a totally none of the original people are, and I don't even Willits wasn't even like a totally original guy either. It's kind of like Leonard Skinner. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no original members left of Leonard Skinner. They're like they'll live on for generations.
Yeah. Megadeth does the same thing, man. They got like one member. Dave Mustaine's always been Megadeth, and he's literally replaced every band member. Then he's brought some of them back.
But Megadeth is Dave Mustaine. Motorhead was Lemmy Kilmister. I mean, think about Pink Floyd, right? It got to a point where David Gilmour was not the original singer of Pink Floyd. And a lot of people don't know that. There's Sid, whatever the fuck his name was. I'm sure somebody's going to shit on me for not remembering his last name. And then, and then by the time you get to the Flying Pigs and all that, David Gilmour is the only member left in the band. So it's like some of their best stuff was made by not original members. And that's kind of what we're seeing with id right now. And a lot of that's how corporations work.
Maybe we should start a music podcast just so we can increase our music.
We'd have to bring in Cheetah Sweater to do a music podcast.
I'm very limited in knowing everybody's name and bands and stuff.
I'm an encyclopedia of heavy metal stuff from the
I like thrash metal. That's about as heavy I can get.
What's your favorite thrash metal band?
Probably Metallica or Megadeth.
I love Megadeth, man. I think Holy Wars.
Megadeth's amazing.
Holy Wars is one of the single greatest songs ever made. Ever. It's
Dave Mustaine's awesome, man. I've got his book. He's just kind of sorry, but he's just a badass. I mean, really, he was. He got kicked out of Metallica for being too hardcore.
For being a drunk. He got kicked out of Alcoholica for being an alcoholic.
It wasn't that. He was just getting in fights and like he would fight everybody. He'd just get so mad. I was like, how hardcore do you got to be to get kicked out of Metallica? Like, you know, Metallica was known for, you know, drinking and partying. And here's a guy, Dave Mustaine. He's literally whipping everybody. Like he's good. He has a black belt or something, I think. Or he took, I forget in his book, he said he took something, but he's like kicking everybody's ass. Like he's getting fights while he's in Metallica all the time. And he's just destroying stuff. He's crazy.
There's something about those guys like him or like Phil Anselmo from Pantera. You know, like the people who go through, like they start doing heroin. I'm not encouraging anybody to do heroin. The people who do heroin and then get off heroin, Steven Tyler from, you know, like Aerosmith. And then once they get off of it, they live to be like 100 and they stay beautiful until then.
Have you watched the Dirt movie on Netflix?
Yeah, Motley Crue.
Man, it's so good.
I've seen Motley Crue live, man. They're
awesome, man.
They're my mom's favorite band. So I saw them.
Really?
Yeah.
They're good. I mean, they're an awesome band, I think.
I mean, they're silly. Motley Crue is one of those bands that's like, it's hard to understand without kind of putting yourself in that time, because I wasn't there, but like I kind of get it, because you know, like that's what my parents kind of raised me on.
Hey, I love 80s music, so.
But Motley Crue is so, they're like a perfect storm of musicians, right? Like they kind of get into that in the movie a little bit. Like Nikki Sixx was like this great songwriter. I wouldn't say he's like the best bass player in the world by any stretch of the imagination. He, you know, wrote the songs. Tommy Lee had that, you know, like energy. Like he's, you know, underappreciated. Like as a drummer, he's really underappreciated. But like he had that kind of like I'm the ladies' man, innocent boy thing going on. And then Mick Mars is one of the greatest guitar players to ever walk the planet, and I don't care what anybody says about it. And the other guy that comes to mind from like that era is CeCe DeVille from Poison, because they kind of get looked over because they're in the hair metal bands, and all the great guitar players were in the thrash bands. But man, CeCe DeVille and Mick Mars both just rip on the guitar like nobody else. This has gotten off track.
This is just going to lead to a music podcast. That's all it's going to lead to.
Maybe that's what we'll have to end up.
The Motherload and Smango music podcast coming up.
Yeah.
Man, there's just so many good musicians out there. I love Pantera too. That's probably, I'd say Pantera and Slipknot's about as heavy as I can get. I don't really get too much heavier than that.
Yeah.
They're kind of like groove metal. I think that's what their thing's called. Have you know metal's so weird. It has these different genres of metal.
Have you seen the documentary Heavy, the Story of Metal?
I haven't seen that one.
There's this guy, he's literally an anthropologist, and he like studies the fork, like the way that metal has like kind of forked out in all different directions over time, and it's got
kind of like the Quake fork. Like it's just forked into 5 billion different
or war fork. But exactly the same thing though. How like this kind of metal became this kind of metal became, and then you start off with like, you know, just good old Black Sabbath, and then you end up over here with like Norwegian satanic black metal, and then like
man, Black Sabbath, they're awesome too.
Yeah, man. Like
in the Dirt movie where they meet Ozzy, he's just licking his pee off the ground. This guy, I was like, I know he probably done that for real. Is the thing? It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it must be nice to be that free, man. I don't know. He said, I think, didn't he get a divorce recently? Sharon dumped his ass finally.
I don't know. It kills me that the way he talks and that he can still hit the high note. It makes no sense.
I don't want to disparage Ozzy because he is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. You know, the man, the myth, the legend, Ozzy Osbourne. I have it on good authority that when he sings live nowadays, there's somebody in the back hitting those high notes with him.
You think so?
Yeah. No, I'm
certain. Crazy. Like, I don't even know how he can't even talk right.
King Diamond. I saw King Diamond a while back open for Slayer, and even King Diamond, his wife, is pretty young, especially compared to him. She was singing with him and kind of like helping him hit those high notes, and he'd need to drop off, it'd still be there for him and all that. So I respect it, man.
Metal and arena shooters go together very well. They mesh.
People seem to have lost that, man. That's what I love about.
I don't understand.
Talking to Andrew Holschultz, man, that's what he does, brother. Like,
We need to shout out that EL Guitar Tom guy. I think I linked it in the Keep the other day. He remixes like Quake songs, and it's amazing. He even does Doom.
Link it up, man. I'd love to check that out.
I thought I put it in there. I asked him if I could use his music as an intro to the AFPS live show.
Yeah. That's
so if you ever click on it, if you ever click on the links, I actually went live on YouTube. I usually try to play it first. It's his music. Awesome.
Honestly, a lot of the time I listen to game soundtracks.
Oh yeah.
Like I spend a lot of time. I just like look up game soundtracks and listen to them because it's
all you have to do is listen to the Doom 2016 soundtrack.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure.
So good,
but
so good
because it's meant to blend into the background and kind of like add ambiance to the situation. It's not meant to like be the forefront of what you're doing. So if I'm like working on stuff here or at work or whatever, like I don't want to be listening to like a rap song with like all these lyrics that you have to pay attention to. I just want to like be in the groove, and that's what game soundtracks are.
Rap in like pop music is kind of good for jogging a little bit because it's got higher beats per minute.
No, I listen to podcasts.
It does too, but yeah, I like podcasts too.
I don't want to think about anything. I just want to like have somebody tell me what's going on, and I'm just gonna keep on running and not think about it. But I love hip hop.
I don't know if Marky Music can make bad music though. Like, I don't think has he made a bad song. Anything he's done, I've listened to like every song he's made on SoundCloud. And I'm like, this dude don't know how to make bad music. It's just all awesome.
The Quake Champions Doom Edition soundtrack is damn fun.
He's done a bunch of games, and they're all awesome.
Yeah, man.
He's talented.
I don't want to keep you awake too much longer. We're already.
Oh, that's fine, man. Just keep going. We got like 20 minutes or something.
All right. What else is on your mind?
This anyway. I don't know.
What else is like, other than like, I guess we could talk about some of the upcoming stuff, because what I've been really into is kind of these single player games that have been coming out that are within our kind of realm of interest. A lot of the new Doom 2 ports have been fantastic. I've been playing Ion Maiden, like.
I heard that game's awesome.
Or Ion Fury. I gotta say the right name.
Ion Fury, yeah.
Ion Fury is.
I heard it looks good.
Incredible, man. Like it's so good.
It looks so
great. Good. And people that got Ion Maiden, like the kind of demo pack that came out before the real release, are like they're picking it up. They're finally picking it up, and they're like, "Oh man, this is such a huge improvement over what we thought it was going to be." I think it is, objectively speaking, because we've had years and years of time to kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work. I think it's the best build engine game ever made. I think it's, and I love Blood. I love Duke Nukem. I don't think anybody's going to argue for Shadow Warrior, although it is also a fantastic game. But yeah, Ion Fury is great.
Another game I think we should kind of focus on, but I wish it had more content or they would finish it, is Unreal Tournament. We don't get enough Unreal Tournament action. I love the game. Like, it is a good alpha build right now, and it has so much potential. But they're just worried about stupid Fortnite, and it pisses me off. Which I'm hoping, because Epic is so desperate to get people on their platform, they're releasing a game every week. So I'm hoping eventually, if they get so many people on their platform, that they'll eventually go back to Unreal Tournament, which they've not pronounced officially dead like they did that other game they'd done, which was like a MOBA. So I'm hoping it gets some traction, man, because it's really good. And it feels more authentic to Arena First-Person Shooter does than Quake Champions.
I don't have any like background in Unreal Tournament, honestly. Like you can't strafe jump in it, so I'm not into it. I'm just kidding. But I think that a lot of the people that I talked to who were like fantastic arena shooter players came from Unreal Tournament. Brondo, the Dust player, right? He's a really great Unreal Tournament player. Like played like on college teams and everything. Won a lot of money, from what I understand. But it's like, there's nothing exciting. That's the kind of thing, is that there's nothing exciting to talk about in Unreal Tournament right now. There's nothing.
That's because Fortnite. I wish the game would die. It's so good though. Unreal Tournament kind of lost its way a little bit in the 2000s. They started putting like, which was cool. They was kind of trying to compete with probably like Battlefield, because it become more popular than it. They try to make tanks and have big wars going on in the Unreal Tournament universe.
Well, Halo 2 as well, like
In
the Call of
Halo,
Duty.
they had, all these kids, they started like, let's hop in tanks and blow each other up. That's the kind of like they wanted to play. And Halo was fine. I like Halo. Can you consider Halo an arena first person shooter? I guess. It's not as fast. It's not aimed down sights. And you got power up, invisibility. You got to time those.
I think Halo's, especially the first Halo, definitely an arena shooter. But by the sheer definition of arena and first person shooter, I think we talked about this when I was on your show. But like, it is. But there's all these other kind of like things that people expect along with an arena shooter that you don't have in it, like the advanced movement and like that kind of stuff is not really present. And it's more fundamentally like a team based thing, whereas you don't. I know that there are 1v1s, but it's not really part of it.
They're so slow. The game's significantly slower than like a game like Quake. Arena first person shooters are just fast.
You have to be fast.
Like if somebody comes by, like even my wife, like she knows I play arena shooters. She's like, "How in the world do you play this game?" And she'll be like watching me play Quake Champion or something like that. I was like, "This is not even the fastest game."
There's no like comparison though, man. When you're playing one of these really fast games like Quake, or really, we were talking about this earlier, how like when you play Warsaw and you play Dusk, I gotta start saying Warfork. I have to get that in my head. If you start playing these games and then your brain gets used to moving that fast, because it really does. People don't get this. Like your brain just when you're in that state, when you're winning an FFA match with 30 other people in there and you're just like on it, and then you have to go do something that's slow. It's like hard to do. It's like my brain is so used to just functioning at a higher level than most people could comprehend. I guess not like I'm not saying I'm smart. I'm just saying like
operating at a higher level.
You shut off everything else, but that's what it's good for.
Caffeine and arena first person shooters and metal. That's all you need for a whole day of like awesomeness.
That's what it's good for.
Shoot you a couple Red Bulls, turn on some Pantera, and Doom 2016 BF. What's that song called? BFG Division. Is that the name of the song?
Something
That's
like
really good. Shoot you some Red Bulls, play you some Warfork. That's what you call a day, man. But I tried to log in Quake Champions today and play Sorlag. I was like, you know what? I've been playing so much Warfork. Let me jump on Quake Champions. I swear, it's like I was playing the slowest game of all time. I was like, what is going on?
That's what it feels like. When I'm not playing an arena shooter, I have to play something totally different. I don't want to play other first person shooter games. Like I have literally zero interest whatsoever in playing like Apex. And it's a cool game, and I respect it, and I think it's the best of its genre. But like, it's just I want to play like The Witcher 3, something that's totally completely different. Or
Apex is okay. I get on my PlayStation 4 and play with my family sometimes. Like I think I played it the other day, and even consoles. I get aggravated at consoles now.
Zero interest.
They're so slow. It's just
60 frames per second cap rate. What is this bullshit?
Yeah, really. I mean, even the game doesn't tick at higher than 60 like Quake Champions does, or arena first person shooters. But man, I don't know.
Well, as long as
I love old games. I love old games. Like everybody's like, "Why don't you play Counter-Strike?" I'm like, they don't even get me started on that game. I mean, come on. I like Counter-Strike. Ugh. All everybody does is camp. Like he camped in a corner. Oh, he peeked. Let me shoot him with my op.
I'm not even
good game, man.
I just don't want to. I don't want to play Counter-Strike because I don't want to listen to it. Like the last time I played Counter-Strike, it was just some guy that was pretending to be like a little Asian girl, and he was just like singing anime songs and like asking everybody to fuck him the whole time. And I was just like, I don't think I want to be around this, man. This isn't good for my like intellectual capacity. I can't grow as a person.
I think the original Counter-Strikes was a lot better than the Counter-Strike Go.
I think CS:GO.
I ain't got nothing against it.
The recent updates this past year were like weird.
It's like we gotta jump on the battle royale genre. Look at us.
I gotta give them props though, man. They've kept that game going for like a.
I mean, it is a very skillful game. I will give it that, but it's like I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I hate that people just camp and they know every little corner you're coming around. Like you can do that in Quake, but like you can come around the corner going 150 mile an hour, then in Counter Strike you're just barely walking, and they're like, "Oh, I got you in the head. Look at me." I'm just sitting there watching the whole time.
Counter Strike's a little bit more like reality, a little bit, not totally.
Yeah,
but, whereas like Quake is like a fantasy world.
It's more simulated, I guess,
Quake
based.
Quake is a fantasy world that you can do anything you've ever dreamed of. Like you can. That's one of my favorite things to do.
I think that's why I like arena first-person shooters better, because they are more arcadey feeling, but they're still very skillful. Like, I don't know what would be the top ceiling of skillful would be arena first-person shooters or a game like Counter Strike.
Probably Counter Strike, because there's so many more people that play it. I'd have to imagine. I think it's just sheer. Because I talked about this with Infinite. Like he's the best open arena player there is. Like that literally no one in open arena can touch him in duels.
Mm-hmm.
But if he played Rafa, like if he just moves out of open arena and moves over to like a game with a bigger player base, all of a sudden there's a much higher skill level for him to like compete with.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's easy to say that. The same thing with Dusk. I could say like Brondo is the undisputed, maybe C-Spool, undisputed best Dusk player that there is, but how many people really play Dusk at that level? Like there's off the top of my head, Rondo, C-Spool, Brand Flakes, Simon, iGrack Simon, and Vythern. Pharaoh doesn't even play anymore. There's just not that many great Dusk players that are really super competitive. So, but Rondo stands above the rest.
One last topic, and we'll call it good, I guess. Yeah. Let's talk about. Did you like the Quake Champion tournament? How it was handled?
Oh, so at QuakeCon?
Yeah, like the latest tournament, the Quake Champions 2019 tournament. How they all kind of. It was terrible to watch. I will say, like trying to understand what matches everybody was playing was unbearable.
I think that was the mistake with that was just not publishing what was happening before it happened.
Yeah, it's like you had to go to the players' streams to watch it. That was awful to try to watch. Now the championships was awesome to watch.
Yeah, so basically, I don't know. They didn't really have to stream it, but I figured they'd get more interest if they had each, the players who already have huge followings watching them play.
Which wasn't a bad idea, but it's like, I don't know. It was really hard to follow, I guess. I didn't know when people was playing.
I think that what they did was a fantastic idea, and here's why. And it actually inspired me to kind of redo how I think the Keep should do things.
Mm-hmm.
Because every tournament, State of Quake tournaments, pretty much every gaming tournament that we see is like a bracket style tournament or a round robin tournament, and then it just kind of like you have to sit through the whole thing and wait for your turn and all this crap, and like nobody wants to do that. It gets real old, and 5 hours in, everybody's tired and they don't want to play anymore. Mm-hmm. And then you get to the grand finals, and it's like whoopee, and you got like less people watching than you started with.
Yep.
The fact that they did the round robin to rank everybody, and then they instead of we're gonna watch a whole tournament play out, there's like we're gonna have 8 really fun to watch pairings of people. We're gonna have an event. It's like think about it like the UFC or like WWE. Where it's instead of we're gonna just watch a whole tournament play out, it's like we're gonna pair up the people that we think are good matches for each other, and we're just gonna put on a show for you. And that ultimately culminated in Cooler versus Kilson, which was like, I mean, I feel bad for Cooler, kind of, but
like Kilson was just on a different level that night.
and Rafa, the second, third place match, the semifinal thing that they did, like even that, like every match though were 2 people who were like right on each other's level, and it was great, and I had a great time watching it, and that's kind of how they're rolling forward with the Pro League, and that's cool, the ranking system instead of we're gonna have a 1-day tournament, and what I'd like to see with the Keep do is not necessarily have like a rankings, but let's put on a show instead of like making people watch a whole tournament. It's like if I could we can talk about like the stuff that I talked about with Warfork earlier. Instead of like let's have a whole duel tournament, let's do like an FFA tournament where you eliminate people until the final 2 are left, and then have them duel each other. And then you really get to see people be multifaceted. It's not just like who's the best dueler or who's the best clan arena player or FFA player or whatever. It's like, can you do all of it? Can you do everything?
Mm.
And I think that's really interesting. And I think that will, even if I could just say like, okay, today we're going to have Violent Heart versus, I don't know, Drama. So we did that before. We did that with the Clan War event, you know, like we got Violent Heart, we got Dramas, we got Sib, you know, that kind of thing. Instead of saying we're going to have a tournament, it's like we got really good matches for you to watch. And I think that's a lot more fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I think just the biggest issue at home was trying to, during the round robin stuff was like, when is everybody playing? Like, there's no, it was so hard to follow. Like, you just had to be online and see them on.
I was having to ask people,
rough.
like, while I was there, I was like going up to people who were
that's bad that you didn't even know, and you was there. And I was at home. I was like, when is Rafa playing this guy? And I was like, there was no schedule, especially on the website. I think the best thing I found online was on the Liquidpedia, which was, you know, Liquid's website. They had the best thing, and it was still terrible. Like, they didn't have enough information on it. It was just like an Excel spreadsheet. It's like, okay, this is not well. But the finals was awesome. Like, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
So when are we going to throw together a Warfork team and start playing arena or something? Stuff that we can rank up.
I'm hesitant to say because it may have already happened by the time this is published.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. I think that I don't really want to play CTF. I definitely want to play Clan Arena. I don't know.
Yeah, Clan Arena, CTF's okay.
I think we could do a Clan War again. We could have like this is
Clan Wars. That's what I want to do.
Let's go. You and you go ahead, put together the official The Keep Clan Arena team. Y'all start training. I'll set it up. I'll find like another group of Warforkers out there. We'll probably get our asses whipped because there's some people that have really been playing this for a long time. But it'd be fun.
Dude, I've got whipped so many times already. I think NVZ, he actually come into the Discord today. He whipped me so bad that day. Me with land ping too. That's the embarrassing part.
Nah, it don't really matter that much.
Yeah, man, they're good. Somebody else I played today. It was I think I got like 1 kill on him. I was like, man, these guys are just on different levels than I am.
That's just the nature of the game.
I don't duel a lot though. That's my problem. It's like I'm not really a dueler. I like watching duels. I can't play duels at a high level though.
I feel like I'd be a lot better if I didn't do this podcast or like The Keep or any of this shit, but then I wouldn't have anybody to play with. So
yep.
I don't care about being the greatest player. I care about
I don't either. I just love the games.
I want to have fun, and I want to have a community of people to have fun with.
Like, I can't believe how much I'm enjoying Warfork, to be honest with you. Like, I'm kind of addicted to it. Like, I'll even log on it at work and like during lunch break, I'm like, I gotta jump around on the side of a wall real quick.
I'm really glad to see this game finally get the attention that it is.
So good. I can't wait to keep covering it.
I hope so, man.
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna let you go because I know you're up late and I'm up late too. So I gotta be up tomorrow.
6:30 comes. I got about 6 hours of sleep. Go to work.
Thank you so much for staying up, man.
Later, man. Have
Take
a good
care.
one.
Y'all, I truly, truly love Smango. He's one of the most interesting and like humble human beings I've ever met in my life. He's just an incredible guy. And show him your love, seriously. Go show him your love. Check out all of his stuff. QuakeFans.net, KentuckyNerd.com, the Retro 20, Full Tech Podcast, the whole shebang. He's the man. He's the myth. He's the motherfucking legend. And absolutely do not forget to go check out inthekeep.com. That is your one-way window into everything that The Keep does. You can get everything we do right there at inthekeep.com. Twitch, YouTube, Patreon, PayPal, the Amazon affiliate link, the whole deal. It's all there, man. And links to the Discord, our social media stuff, everything that you need to be part of The Keep. Because that is the ultimate goal, is that you know, find your way into the FPS community somehow, that you join out with us and you have a good time and that you become part of this community. Like, the community is so important. That's what I'm trying to say, people. It's all about it's not even the game you play, it's the people you play it with. I'm telling you, that is just 100% the truth. A few plugs before we get out of here. Definitely go check out State of Quake. They're putting on the Sacrifice Tournament, the State Cup. Go check them out. It's really awesome. Going on all September long. They're amazing. I'm a huge supporter of them, obviously, but State of Quake is where it's at. If you love Quake Champions, you will absolutely love State of Quake. Go check out the United States Quake community also. If you like Quake World, you will love USQC. Also Doom, because Nationwide Moose is the man when it comes to Doom in North America these days, as well as the Multiplayer Doom Federation, which I cannot say enough good things about. Like, if you want to be a competitive Doom player in today's modern age, and you could live anywhere, but really, like, North America, seriously, you're not going to find a better place than USQC or Multiplayer Doom Federation, or both. Both is probably the best route to really get into this stuff. So please show them your love. Also want to say hello to Shazik over at the Beyond Strafe Jumping podcast. You can find him on YouTube. He's amazing. He has incredible guests all the time on his show, and I highly recommend you just punch in on YouTube Beyond Strafe Jumping and check out his show. It's great. Last but not least, QuakeCast. I don't know what to say about the QuakeCast that I haven't already said. They're incredible. It's all about Quake and the games that it inspires. It's Dump Truck. It's RC. Sometimes it's JCR. They're incredible. Especially if you're into mapping, you'll not find a better route of entry than Dump Truck. That's pretty much it for me, guys. I love you so much. The Drown God loves you. Do not ever forget this. If you're feeling down, if you're just totally out there and you just can't deal with it anymore, be part of this community because we love you so much. Stay in the keep.